What's up, Wrestle Buddies? This is your Wrestle Buddies. I'm Adam. Got Perry Wayne over there. Um, Today I had physical therapy for my hip. It hurt really bad, but I feel better actually. It's feeling a lot better today. Wayne, how you doing?
Yeah, yeah. Good evening. I didn't have physical therapy today. I had a security clearance therapy. I spent like 3 hours plugging in all kinds of crazy data, updating my security clearance shenanigans, and I spent the rest of the day. Hmm?
Is it data or data? I never
I
know.
mean, is it NAFA or folk?
I hope it's data for the sake of the rhyme.
Okay. Tomato, tomato. No, just I did include you on there.
Thanks.
So,
Love a tomato.
yeah.
So what do we got today?
All right. We're just gonna dive right into the Raw after WrestleMania.
Oh yeah,
A ruckus crowd that is,
really good Raw after WrestleMania.
yeah, yeah. They, if you wanted to get fed, you got fed for sure. They're known for hijacking the show, and I don't think it was as blatant a hijacking as we've seen in the past, but they showed out, did wonderful, and they were given a great show. You know, good material to work with. So thumbs up all around from my point of view. We kicked off with
I don't think they were given the opportunity to hijack the show, because
well,
like you said, they were fed. Like there were things that kept their interest where when they
that's
started chanting things that had something to do with what was being said in the ring,
hmm
or
agreed.
whatever action was happening in or outside the ring.
We'll get to that absolutely. We kicked off with John Cena coming out, wearing the title backwards, which was cute.
So disrespectful.
What a troll! What a troll! Um,
My daughter said that he wore it backwards because he wanted everybody to stare at his tiny butt.
Probably um, pancakes. Um, I had an idea, a reverse troll idea. It'll never fly. Creative would get wind of it. If to coordinate it would be a mass effort, and they're just too plugged in now. It would never work. But if you could coordinate a silent entrance movement from the crowd, so zero reaction, nothing, just from the minute Cena music hits until he leaves. I mean, it's quieter than when Bray Wyatt would make an entrance. Nothing.
So feed him the same energy that he's giving when he comes out.
Zero. That he gets nothing.
Maybe I should really make the effort when we're at Backlash, when me and my kids are at Backlash, to just canvass the concourse
I'm just,
areas throughout the Enterprise Center
just
and just be like,
your
hey,
kids are
when John
saying,
Cena comes out, be silent. Just be as silent as you possibly can, and
well,
we will go viral.
it looked. I'm not saying it wasn't a work, but it looked like in the lead up with Charlotte and Tiffany, the booze from Charlotte. You think back to the Raw after WrestleMania with Roman Reigns, where he just got booed out of there, and that they had to bring The Rock out. I think the next year, um, you gotta
I'm gonna
you
try
gotta
to
figure
start.
out how to get John Cena off tilt, and I think a silent movement.
Right, because when during his promo, and we'll jump in during his promo, he talked about, do you think you, you guys call me an asshole? Or no, he said,
I'm getting to it.
he's like, he said, I'm not an anus, but all of you are a group of idiots. After all the crowds that said things that are worse to me, you think you're the ones that could break me? So I like what you have in store there is like, if you can't break them with actual words, chants, songs, or what have you, maybe not saying anything at all would break him. That would be pretty cool. That would be really cool. I like
The,
that.
the, and the "We Are Sorry" chant got a hee hee for me. The "I may be an anus" was just like ear to ear best shit ever.
I may be an anus. Like he sounds like a like if you didn't see him, oh, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do that pun. But if you literally didn't know who was speaking, like you would swear it was some like goofy ass like history teacher or something,
Uh-huh.
the way this heel character is.
Hmm. For sure. Um, he went back and forth with the crowd, played it beautifully, I thought, and then ruthless aggression.
Yeah, that was kind of the a clue on what would happen. Like just to kind of reach back to WrestleMania. I mean, I was excited for the match. I don't I don't think it lived up to the hype. I thought uh, about three-fourths of it were good. It was just like a straight graps match, but last 25% kind of landed with a thud, considering it took Travis Scott like 7 minutes to get down the ramp. Which there's a collective out there saying that this was done on purpose,
Yeah.
that the match was a dud on purpose because he wants to
Mm,
ruin wrestling. But one, I don't know. I don't know. Do I think we're going to get a classic from John Cena eventually? I do. But who's to say how much of a step he's lost, and maybe these are the kind of matches he's going to have. But
well, I mean, you saw the end of the interview. I think if there's anybody to get a classic out of him, it's there. I mean, there's a handful of guys.
well, this is a different Randy Orton than the Randy Orton that he wrestled in the past. The Randy
Yeah.
Orton of the past was this slender, small forward, like like this. Well, not slender, but a
Yeah.
very
Gone are the
lean.
days.
Right, a very lean jump out of the gym with a drop kick, Randy Orton. This is like this is like the Viper incarnate, Randy Orton. He is humongous.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he just towers over everybody that's in the ring with him. But yeah, so well, he was hiding under the ring, waiting to strike.
No doubt. No doubt we'll get him and Cena at Backlash. No doubt.
Yeah, hey, Randy's hometown, St. Louis, right up the road from me. I'm excited. I'm I think this is a good way to go with Cena as the heel in the story because he's been getting cheered. But being in St. Louis, where Randy Orton's from, Randy Orton's going to get cheered. I don't think they're going to boo Randy Orton. I do think there's a possibility that both are cheered and there's no boos. But
Right.
we'll see. It was just great. I mean, Cena sold it so well with his version of Edge and Christian, 5 second photo freeze frame showing that title belt, turning around and just enough time to say into the mic, shit.
Oh, this shit was fantastic. I wrote down in my notes, I was like, best shit ever.
It really
I was like,
was.
am
It
I
was
referencing
perfect.
something I've done or what I just watched? But, it was
If you're
fantastic.
regular, everyone's great. Every single one's great.
Well, and you're going to be at Backlash, aren't you?
Yeah, well, yeah, I just said that. Yeah, I am. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
All right, we're going to have to talk offline about how to get this silent entrance movement going. We got a month, or we don't have a month.
Yeah, May 10th. May 10th. It's not too far away. Uh, I'll figure. I'll canvas some social media, maybe the Reddit. I don't like to go on Reddit a lot,
For
and
sure.
social media is a dangerous place. But when you're trying to do something, I wish there was a way that wherever you get your tickets, that there was a way for like whatever platform you get your tickets. I wish there was like a comment section strictly for the event. So like I could say, a hashtag silence for Cena entrance. And then from there, everybody who's buying tickets from wherever they buy them from, they're all seeing this. And then they can be like, what does this mean? And I'm like, let's feed the same energy John Cena. I don't I'm,
I'm gonna leave you with this before we move on, unless you have anything more to add on it. But if there's
Yeah, I'm excited
anybody,
for John Cena, Randy Orton.
I am too. But if there is anybody who can start a woo chant at a PLE and have it wrap around the entire arena, it's you, my man.
It's your boy. It's
Challenge
your boy.
accepted. Okay. All right. Oh, good stuff. Next, moving on. Women's tag team match. Becky and Lyra against Liv and Raquel.
A rematch
A
from
very, very
WrestleMania.
good match. Yeah. There was solid back and forth throughout, I thought.
I thought Raquel looked freaking awesome.
I thought Becky looked really good, like
I mean,
super
they
sharp.
all looked good. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, because there's one thing I want to say before we get to what happened after the match. But yeah, it
Sure.
was awesome.
Well, uh, I think I mentioned it to you yesterday. Liv and Raquel have a very Shawn Michaels Diesel-esque thing about them. And then Raquel, lo and behold, hit that big ass power bomb, and I was like, okay, I'm validated. I'm justified. They look good. It was a good match.
Yeah, and I think yes, I agree. They had that Diesel Shawn Michaels vibe. I would say that what Raquel does in the ring is a bit more. They don't just pigeonhole her as the giant, you know? Yeah, she does giant shit, but she also does that like corkscrew elbow from the corner,
Yeah.
and and then that freaking clothesline she does where she misses with the right and comes back with the left. Like she does a lot of cool stuff that that is outside of what your bigger in size individuals would do. So I thought she's looked great. I think her being in the Judgment Day has been really good. And then Liv, I mean, if you know the NBA awards are happening right now for what people won for the regular season, and one of them is the most improved player. I'm not saying Liv Morgan is the most improved player because she's one of the best in WWE. I would maybe I am saying that like for like the last 3 years, Liv could win most improved player. Like she's improved like
Exponentially.
pretty much the last 3 to 4 years every year. She's great. And yeah, and Becky, Becky looks a little bit more spry than she did. Although the last time we saw her, she was wrestling with strep throat. But but yeah, she looks spry, and Lyra's a freaking beast. It was a good match, and you just good. It was cool to see the ending. They teased who was going to go against whoever won next with the NXT tag team out there with Gigi Dolan and her tag team partner. Um, but I thought Raquel and Liv was it was good to get the belts back on them because which we'll talk about later. This adds more fuel to one side of the Judgment Day. Now that there's gold stacked on three individuals, like how's that balance gonna shake out? And then afterwards, I mean, whew, the
Becky
beat
went
down.
ape shit.
Yeah, that was a beat down,
Yep.
and
That was,
she appeased the crowd by manhandle slamming her again after they chanted one more time.
yeah, for sure. I don't know. I felt like there was a hint at that whenever Lyra came out with Becky to, like, she didn't get her own entrance.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, something's awry by that. And then they didn't really sell it for the rest of the match. But then when Lyra, I never expected Becky to take the pin, but it was pretty obvious what was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Becky's just like, you let this happen. You ruined everything. That's what she said. You ruined everything. So we got to heal Becky Lynch, and I think this is a great way to build Lyra up. Because she hasn't
Yeah.
defended that Intercontinental title a lot, and this is a way for her to do it now. They got the
No, no,
tag team
and
straps off of them.
building up to WrestleMania, it was kind of you had these two new champions, Lyra and Io, and it seemed like more of the build was on Io. But I'm glad that Lyra's catching this. Um, Yeah, with Becky, that's going to be fantastic for
Yeah, I
her.
mean, Becky's. I mean, that's what she was doing a lot before she took this most recent hiatus. I mean, she had matches against Lyra at NXT, Roxanne Perez, Tiffy. There was some good matches against Tiffy. So, like, this is the orbit that Becky Lynch is in now, is to, you know, help the next generation. I'm sure
I
we'll
mean,
see some sprinkled in stuff. Maybe we see Tiffy and Becky again down the road. Maybe we
oh,
see Becky and Io down the road. Although I consider Io part of Becky's generation. They are similar in age. Have been wrestling for roughly the same amount of time in their careers. But I don't think it'll always just be Becky getting talent over. But
no.
she doesn't.
Well, Bailey's coming.
Well, I
Bailey's
think
out there.
Bailey's legitimately hurt. I,
Oh,
I think she, because she always wears that tape on her shoulder, and I think she's legitimately hurt. But
okay.
you never know.
Um, Next,
Yeah, the New Day came out.
the New Day segment. Uh,
I mean,
I don't know if I'm on the fence about whether I like them more as heels or when they were at the peak of being faces, when they're falling out of gigantic Boodio boxes at WrestleMania. But their heel work is nar. They're
yeah, they just need more time. I think that's why you can't make the decision on whether you like them more as a heel or a face, but they just haven't had the time to really. Well, at the beginning, the crowd wouldn't give them the time because they were getting booed out of the arena. But now I think the crowd's willing to listen and to jump into this New Day heel. And yeah, I think the Alpha Academy coming out. I knew we were probably going to see someone debut. I
sure.
did not know it was going to be here. I don't know
No,
if they
no,
did
that was
it.
a surprise. That and the Alpha Academy came out, and I immediately went. And it's not meant to be a negative connotation, but I just associated it with, okay, this is going to be raw stuff.
Yeah,
I don't that didn't that wasn't like a big PLE spike in my train of thought whenever Alpha Academy came out, and then Jesus, the
well,
bottom
hold on.
rung.
They got goaded into accepting the match by being called Minutemen,
Right.
which is a heel. That's a heel thing. A heel would get goaded into that by being called
Right.
a Minuteman.
Uh,
So,
Rusev's new music drops.
well, yeah, because everybody knew someone was coming out. They didn't know who it was because the music is different. But they knew
And
when Rusev, he was freaking jacked. Oh my god.
yeah, yeah, um, yeah, cleared the ring.
Well, they're leaning into who his character was when he was in AEW with um the Redeemer. Or at least it seems like that because we haven't heard him talk. I mean, I guess we did because he said Rusev.
And he put Otis in the Boston Crab. What does he call it?
Oh, that's the camel clutch.
Or excuse me, the Kimball. My bad. Other end of the body. Whoops.
Yeah, yeah. Even though you're not touching the area where you would think a camel clutch would be.
Right.
Anyway.
For sure.
um yeah, I can't remember what he calls that, but I mean, it's a good way to get to build this beastly type persona that you want with Rusev by him, you know, chopping down 360 pounds of Otis.
Yeah, I don't. It could be a build to a match next week
Well, yeah,
with
maybe, but
with
I don't think this is
Otis.
a build between a rivalry between these two because
Correct. This is a reintroduction.
right, you don't want to bring him and have the internet's being like, okay, let's see what this does, and no disrespect to Otis, but
Right, right. I get what you're saying. A little bit, a little bit to the right on the card.
yeah, But
All
I'm
right.
excited. I'm excited to see what happens with Rusev, and I'm assuming that this means that the Alistair Black promos I think were on SmackDown, so maybe we see him on Friday night.
Hmm? Next.
Yeah, let me jump in here real quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we had a little backstage segment with Dirty Dom, and what
Hmm.
was interesting, what I found interesting about this is that when Finn shows up, for he's eyeballing that IC title, and he's a little bit persnickety with Dom, but ultimately he says what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I mean, we would see later on that I guess maybe they're gonna be together, but we'll talk about that match. But what's interesting is that they're not gonna be in Vegas next Monday. Like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Yeah, you won the IC title. I'm happy for you, but they're not going to be in Vegas again for a while. It's like,
By this time.
yeah.
Uh, Io Sky against Stephanie Vaquer, champion versus champion.
Well, yeah, I mean, it started off as a little coronation for Io Sky, which she totally deserved because she freaking killed it at WrestleMania. Um, that that was probably my second. It was either my it was 1A 1B with the other triple threat match between Rollins, Punk, and Reigns. That women's championship match was awesome.
It was.
Um, yeah, she totally deserves it. I'm excited to see. And then, like you said, Stephanie Vaquer came out looking like what's her face from 40-Year-Old Virgin and Kat Dennings.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but I mean, the crowd was freaking stoked for both of them. They wanted to see it. We got to see a little bit of it, and we had some interference from some NXT. Well, I guess Roxanne isn't NXT, but she came out, and then Julia came out,
Yep.
a new heel Julia. Um,
I thought they got after it though. I thought that was the best match of the night.
it really was. I mean, they're
When you're talking about just strictly wrestling, we're not going to the. I thought it was the best wrestling match of the night.
yeah, they're both incredibly talented, both of them, and I can't wait to see a match that doesn't end in a schmarmy way,
Right.
because we're going to eventually see it. And I think the bigger picture here with the individuals that did come out, and ultimately, during the beatdown, Mommy came out, Rhea Ripley came out and kind of cleared the ring. I think what they're doing is like, hey, these are the next ones. Like, we got some talent coming. I think this might be a preview for WrestleMania next year. Like, we might see, if not all these women in a women's world championship match. We're going to see a few of them in there.
That you kind of answered my question before I asked it, but it was going to be for you. Um, Give me your thoughts on the Rhea Ripley of it all, and you just kind of answered it. I didn't know if maybe you were going to steer toward um, either an alignment with EO or Rhea's next.
Well, I mean, Rhea grabbed that title and she's like, I'm coming for that still. I wonder, like, I think it would be really hard. I don't think the crowd would go along with a Rhea Ripley heel turn. Um, but with how freaking humongous she is compared to the other ladies that were in there, uh, she's a giant compared to them, you know? And it's hard to be a face and be bigger than everybody. It's easier for Randy because he's got that legend card. But she's so much bigger than all of them. I mean, they can all go. All of them. Oh, that's an understatement. They're all fantastic in the ring. And I think a match between any of them or all of them together was going to be awesome. Or probably, I'm assuming, I don't, I don't think Mommy's going to wrestle at Backlash. I think we're going to get an EO Stephanie Vicker versus Roxanne Perez and Julia tag
Right.
match. I think that's what we'll get. Which, oh boy, that is going to be a banger for sure if it does happen.
Right. For sure. Uh, Next.
Yeah, we got your world heavy yeet champion.
Yeah, the Jey Uso segment. Um, classy all the way around. It was, Yeet City in Vegas tonight. Um,
He tapped out. He tapped out.
yeah, just 10 out of 10. Happy, happy. Proud. He deserves it. Fantastic. Sammy's music hits.
Hold on, before he did that, before Sammy came out, one thing that was interesting that he said, which it makes sense, is that he said he's gonna be there every week and put in the work. Which you could say, yeah, obviously, because John Cena said John Cena said earlier in the night. You say I can't wrestle, I don't have to. Like,
We
so
started at 36. We got 27 days left.
right. So we are gonna see maybe. I don't think we're gonna hot potato the World Heavyweight Championship that Jay has, but I do think we're gonna see some matches for him uh, every week, every other week. Yeah, I think we're gonna see some stuff, which I'm excited about. And then, like you said, Sammy's music hits, crowd erupts.
Yep. And, it was beautiful, everything he had to say. I was chewing these fingers down till there was almost blood, anticipating a turn, a clothesline, and then a
You
haluva
could
kick.
hear the hush over the crowd too.
Yeah, it was permeating, and it just. I like that it didn't happen
I don't think it's
on
gonna
Monday night.
happen, honestly.
Huh?
I don't think it's gonna happen. I mean, I don't. I'm
And it
not
may.
saying that Sammy and Jay aren't gonna go at it for that championship. I don't think we're gonna see Sammy turn on Jay. Why would he? It makes zero sense to me. It makes zero sense to just have Sammy turn because I just I saw this piece of an interview that Sammy was doing, and they asked him about the differences creatively. Um, no, it was who did he feel like he could win a world championship under more, Vince or Triple H era? And he said that's a good question. He feels like if he were to win it in the Vince era, it would have been how because of how the storylines and the creative changed week to week that he could just see himself popcorned into the championship like on a whim, and that with Triple H he has these long, methodical, thought out storylines. And if you're lucky enough to be involved, he could see that build to a championship. He said he's like, of course I would want to be a champion, but if it doesn't happen, that's okay. Like I've had a wonderful career. I've had these wonderful moments. And that right there, that tells me that I don't I don't think I don't think we're gonna see Sammy turn on Jay. Um maybe the weight of the championship and being the top guy for Jay doesn't make him turn heel, but maybe has him acting a little bit more guarded because now he's the hunted. All right, we'll take a quick little break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back. Why don't you jump in with your thoughts on the Sammy and the Jimmy coming in with Jay in the ring?
Well, yeah, Sammy came out again. There was a little nerves about a possible heel turn, but we got into that.
How about that double
Then Big
handshake?
Jim comes out, and it was just more of the same. Made me think: are we potentially looking at a Jay not defending the title at Backlash and maybe a six-man tag match or something like that with all of them in the ring. That's kind of a little, I
Against
wouldn't
who?
say far-fetched, but, aggressive fantasy booking probably.
Against who though?
Well, I don't know yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we see matches with Jay on Raw leading up to Backlash, and maybe he's not on the card. I think he'll still be there, but I think since I think we're getting Cena and Orton, I think we might not see Jay defend that title at Backlash, but you never know.
So some kind of tag match would make sense.
Yeah, I'm just trying to. Well, I guess I'll just have to be patient and see where it goes. Well, there's rumors that the draft is coming up soon,
Which would.
so I would think that Netflix definitely wants John Cena. So maybe we see Jay head over to SmackDown, and maybe that's when we start seeing who his maybe his first like story is with, because there's a lot of people over there that you could have a good story with over there in SmackDown.
So, after Jay leaves, or after the Jay Uso segment, I had a couple of questions for you um, before we get into the backside of the show, and I think we got a little segment with AJ Styles and Karrion Kross after this before the Dom and Penta match,
Yeah.
and this is just the nature of being on sea duty and multiple deployments, yada yada yada, Navy shenanigans, and I got kids. Karrion Kross. I don't know what this fucking dude's about. I don't know what the story is. I don't give me a
Not
brief
online enough. You're
synopsis.
not online enough. Just leave it at that. You're not online enough. If you want to get caught up, you need to start following his stuff online. I mean, Karrion Kross, his thing is that he brings out the worst in people, and
Okay,
they end up turning into their worst person.
so that's what AJ was alluding to in the interview.
Right. And then look where Drew is now. Well, it all started with Karrion Kross. Look where Seth Rollins is now. Well, it all started with Karrion Kross. Look where Shinsuke is now. It started with Karrion Kross. Look how the bloodline isn't around Roman anymore. Well, when Karrion Kross brought out that little timer tick-tock and put it in front of Roman Reigns, it slowly started to crumble then as well. He's messed with Sammy a little bit. Um, Even the Miz, like the Miz, you know, he had his little run with R-Truth, and he turned on R-Truth, and then the Wyatt Six were attacking Miz, and then the Miz went to SmackDown, and now the Miz is with Carmelo Hayes. But I think that's going to be a story that builds because of this Karrion Kross thing. Sorry, my nose is that. Oh, great, Miz. You the only way you can stay in the limelight is just by sticking yourself with the number one pick on the draft and Carmelo Hayes. Like maybe we start seeing this side of Miz where he's like questions that he needs to retire and stuff. But so that's what Karrion Kross's thing is that he 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 says these things to get the worst out of them. I mean, but at the same time, like I was digging what he was saying about Logan Paul. Like, you were doing like Alan, you were supposed to be doing this for all the boys in the back who want that spot. And we got this guy who just comes in, this internet guy that just comes in and takes a spot. And you couldn't make the decision. You had to make a selfish decision to try to win your way. So I'm glad that we're getting more from Karrion Kross and we've seen more of him in the ring. I'm
Sure.
interested to see where this goes because I think it could be fun. I think it could be fun, and we're starting to hear some reactions for him now too. Like the crowd's a little bit into it. We're seeing. I saw a sign last night that said "Push Cross."
Well,
Maybe
you're
they
gonna
were talking about
segue.
Jesus. I don't know.
You're gonna segue into. So I had two questions for you. The Karrion Kross question was one. I was gonna give you a pass on one of the two questions.
Okay.
The second question was your favorite sign of the night, and you only had two options.
Oh,
One was push carrying cross or Hogan fears unions. If you want to wade into the deep or shallow end of the pool on this one, you can.
oh, the
Anyone who
latter is the
comments on
better.
this
The latter is
online,
the better one. Hogan fears unions. That's amazing. I mean, like,
you
yeah,
better come correct or you're gonna make the list.
yeah. No, yeah. The latter of the two is. I like them both, but one had a little bit more juice.
All right.
Especially since Karrion Cross does a solid Jesse Ventura impression too.
For sure. Nice. You did fantastic. We're gonna slide to Dom and Penta right quick. Um, Coming off the commercial break, we did not get Dom and Penta. We got Gunther absolutely losing his shit
Michael
on
Cole,
Pat
yeah.
McAfee and Michael Cole. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, Cole's, saying, I mean, Gunther's just claiming that he's being a biased person, which he is, but he's not, he should be, he's caught up in the moment. It's WrestleMania and whatnot. I do think that Cole finally egged him on by saying, what did he say? Oh, man, I'm trying to find it.
Well, he said, "I'm just doing my job."
No, he said, I'm not the one who tapped out. That's what Michael Cole said.
Oh,
And
you
that
poor
just,
bitch.
that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And he put him in that, he pushed Pat out of the way, put Michael Cole in that sleeper hold. And Pat McAfee came and punched him.
With a flying forearm.
Yeah. And he was like, okay, yeah, I got it. And then Gunther got him from the back, and all of Pat's boys were jumping over the railing. It was crazy. It's probably, I mean, the NFL draft's coming up, so Pat probably has some obligations there. Uh, but I thought this was a cool little segment. It's not anything that hasn't been done in AEW recently, but it's also it's not something that hasn't been done throughout wrestling storytelling. I mean, Jim Ross. I mean, that's how it all started with Vince McMahon becoming the boss, the corporate boss, was Bret Hart hawking that loogie on him. Like he was a ring announcer, or he was a play-by-play guy then. So it's not anything that we haven't seen. It's just a cool little dynamic, little something different. Maybe Gunther. He I don't think we're going to see Gunther for a little bit. He's going to be suspended.
That was my thing off your NFL draft coming up with Pat McAfee and being obligated. 10 out of 10 agree, but it also felt to me like it was a TV write off for Gunther that just kind of made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll probably see him back probably around right before Money in the Bank, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, it was cool. And then Michael Cole, he's a man that's got a job to do. And he heads back out there with Joe Tessitore. So,
Yep.
and then we got that match.
Uh, Good match. Second best match of the night behind the
EO and
women's match. I
Stephanie McMahon.
thought
Yep.
it wasn't super spotty, but what I was really focusing on, Dom, to be honest with you, because Penta goes, and we've been getting a lot of Penta. You don't get a lot of Dom in the ring, so I was really watching him, and he didn't do anything crazy, but he didn't miss a beat either. He was taking bumps, he was hitting his marks, like he looked good.
Yeah, I mean, the crowd is behind him now. It's not that they weren't behind Penta, but I think the idea was to subdue Dom's the things that he does, because I don't think they don't want the crowd to turn on Penta. So I think that Dom is going to continue to play that kind of. He's still going to play the heel, maybe not as much as he was, because they've kept him quiet off the mic, just doing backstage stuff, and now the crowd is like behind him. And then we got another return during this match.
Donna.
Yeah, after breaking his
Honestly,
freaking neck.
I feel like the back half of that, or the end of that, was just to further ostracize Finn. You saw it on the walkout with the camera, and Finn was, Liv and Raquel came out, and it was big Judgment Day party, and Finn wasn't even in the shot. He walked up eventually and was like, but and eventually with hesitance, he got on board, but it's feels like it's building toward a Finn Dom eventually.
He seemed surprised that JD was there too.
Yeah, well, he was left out of the loop. He's being ostracized. He's not. They don't
They're
see
making
him
him.
as the
Yeah,
leader.
it's not quiet quitting. It's like you're quietly being fired. Like,
Yeah, right, for sure, in a heelish way.
yeah, but I don't think you know. They're not going to boo Dom.
No,
No,
but I think that there was a lot of stuff going on there. It was to
and Dom got the pin too. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, it was to protect Penta because he did get the 3 count.
Yeah,
He took the pinfall, but it was on the return of JD McDonough. So you protected Penta. You did what you needed to with Dom, and you also continued to ostracize Finn Balor. So there were multiple moving parts and pieces in that segment, and I think they all hit their mark.
I'm trying to think. Is that the first time? Because it's not the first time Penta's lost, but he's lost in like a triple threat match, fatal four way. I think that's his first pinfall that he's taken since
Yes,
he's been on in
but
WWE.
is that clean?
It wasn't clean, but it's a win. I mean, he took the pin. He hadn't taken a pin yet,
Right.
and it was Dirty Dom that did it.
Sure. Uh, Moving on.
Yeah, yeah,
The final segment.
yeah, baby. Looking
uh,
like looking like
I
sunshine.
literally wrote down Chef's Kiss, and I wrote that the ending credits before it was really over was genius because they ran the credits, and I was like, oh man. And Paul Heyman threw away the mic, and I was like, we're not going to get Roman Reigns. And then everything that after that was like a double, triple chef's kiss. And you can go ahead and dive into the deep end.
The "Fu Heyman" chants made me upset. Like I've been saying it. Heyman is not the heel. Seth is not the heel in this story. He's not. But Roman and Punk being who they are with their stature. That I'm not saying that people should boo Roman and Punk. They're the bad guys, but they are the bad guys in this story. I mean, we saw it at WrestleMania. Heyman made his decision because Seth spoke some sense. You were in two toxic relationships. On one side, as the wise man, you were treated like garbage. No one came to save you when you got thrown through a table in Madison Square Garden with the new bloodline when they did that to you. And now your best friend is putting you in the position to choose between your best friend and your tribal chief. What kind of friend would do that? What kind of friend does that? Like if I gave you the option, like if I said, hey, you either, like you're going to die tomorrow if you don't decide to root for the Florida Gators or root for the Miami Hurricanes. Like, what kind of
I
friend would
would
do that?
punch you in the nuts and then root for the Knowles.
Right. Like, a friend doesn't do that. Friends don't put their friends into precarious positions to ultimately both individuals got what they deserved. And it was another heist of the century 10 years later, you know? And Roman got a championship stolen, and then Roman now got his wise man stolen. And Heyman is not the bad guy in this.
No, not at all. He's the genius.
Yeah, and this is what Cody said a long time ago. When you lose that title, you're everything's gonna crumble. Your wise man's gonna be gone. Well, looks like that's true. You know, and then, but Punk's music hits, and he's not coming out to talk.
No, he had the tape wrapped around his hand.
Yeah,
Was wrapping it around his hand as he walked to the ring like it was go time.
because he was only going to punch him with his right hand. So, and then they fought, and ultimately, Rollins got the best of him after Punk got the best of him in the corners, beating him down, and then Punk confronted Heyman in the corner and got clocked. Seth clocked him, and then we thought it was over as the credits were rolling and the crowd was chanting for their OTC,
Oh,
and they got their OTC.
oh, I was thirsty and got yes.
Yeah, so go ahead. Tell me what you thought about when Roman came out.
I just was like, let's go. I stood up out of my chair and was like, let's go. And started walking toward the TV, not like super close, but yeah. When Paul Heyman threw away that mic, I was like, ugh. The music hits, Roman comes out, and they just get after it, and then
Well, he speared Rollins, and he turned around and he Superman punched the wise man, and it looked like he was going to spear him, but then we got the best spear in the game. Oh, 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 oh,
oh, that
oh.
was so good. I was so
Braun Breaker's
happy.
here, baby.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
here.
Yeah, he
Which is
is.
it's been a build up. Heyman went down to NXT and he was talking to Braun Breaker, and we're here now. And Rollins, you know, trying to sell that he was confused by who was there, but he was not confused. This was the plan all along. And Breaker wanted some more of Roman. Got a little shot in, but then that 23.6 mile per hour speed around the ring.
Right.
Just this freight train chugging along around four pillars. Boom. Right through the barricade. And Braun Breaker's here. Do we think we're gonna get another a member of this? I feel like that's what we do every week is try to figure out who's gonna be with The Rock. Now we got who's gonna be this,
And
maybe
you know
not
what?
evolution, but is there gonna be a fourth member?
You got Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, and Braun Breaker. That's a faction for me. I don't know what the definite how many people you need to have a faction, but that's a faction right there.
I think
That's
you only need three.
well,
Well, maybe two, because DX was a faction even when they were just down to Triple H and
well
Shawn
they can
Michaels.
they can bring on Hornswoggle and they'll still be formative.
Yeah, I mean, Hornswoggle's not going to do much. I'd like to see Braun Breaker spear Hornswoggle.
I just oh man, I was
So
like
are we getting Braun and Seth versus Punk and Reigns at Backlash?
I have no idea. If I mean you could that's an easy book and it's not it'd be fantastic, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I where it goes, it I mean, obviously matters, but I think it's cool. Braun Breaker is what was it this time last year where Gunther lost the Intercontinental Championship to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And then his next step was, okay, now I'm going to go after the World Championship. And that's what happened with Braun Breaker. He lost that Intercontinental Championship in that fatal four way. And now it looks like he's ascending on to a more, not only like a top guy status, but also top guy storylines. Because there wasn't a lot of storyline going on with a Braun Breaker IC title. It was just show up, beat the hell out of some people, do a front flip while I spear you, Carlito, and turn your innards into the apple that you spit out. And now we're actually going to get some story and some build and ultimately probably some tension between
Yeah,
Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, or Paul
sure.
Heyman and Braun Breaker, or whatever, you know.
It just made me happy. It when the Raw after WrestleMania, you get something like this, which is the beginning of a brand new story. And when you just asked, oh, do we get Reigns and Punk and against Breaker and Rollins at Backlash? Maybe we do, maybe we don't, and it's okay either way because it was such a good segment that I wasn't at no point while watching it was I instinctively low key fantasy booking. I was just completely immersed in the moment. I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna think about where this is going. I just can't wait to see where it goes. Like I'm stoked.
Yeah, I mean, this Raw definitely was a Raw to highlight who we need to pay attention to now that WrestleMania is done. Braun Breaker, uh, Io, Stephanie Vicker, Julia, Roxanne, Rhea Ripley, Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, Judgment Day, and Dirty Dom.
Rusev.
And Rusev. Like, they're letting us know, hey, these are the players that you need to dive into and invest in. And a lot of them are newer people, or maybe not newer, but having a bigger responsibility and a larger opportunity, and it's up to them to sell us on it, you know. And I'm excited.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. That final segment was just wonderful how they did that.
Yeah.
I can't speak about it enough. Overall,
Oh, this was probably the best Raw after Mania in a very long time.
right.
Very, very long time. It was good. I mean, there was returns, there were turns, um, there were some oh shit moments, and excuse me, a lot of intrigue, and I'm excited. So, and then we got SmackDown on Friday, and maybe we get a lot of similar stuff in a different way, you know. Uh, and we're getting a Randy John Cena match. It looks like a throwback. Um, and this is good, you know, because John Cena's champion now, and now there's something to fight over, you know, with that championship. So I'm excited. You see the plates that were on the sides of the title.
Mm-mm.
17, the number 17. Yeah, so I thought that's good. Yeah, it was the best Raw after Mania, and I don't know how long. One thing I will say that I was disappointed about for this Raw after Mania is that there was a substantial lack of beach ball.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was.
yeah.
If there was one, I didn't see it. I know there's beach balls in Las Vegas. There's
I think if they had
everywhere.
beach balls going while they were eating, it could have gone all over the park.
My God,
Like
well, and they just hit it up while they eat.
yes,
Oh
yeah.
man, that would have been really cool.
Come on.
Yeah. Silence for Cena, St. Louis.
And beach balls galore. We can start. I'm not gonna say a GoFundMe for beach balls for the Raw after WrestleMania next year, but we may be in the area and can help influence the deficiency of beach ball action at the Raw after WrestleMania next year.
All right. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you got before we sign off?
No, I think I'm full.
Yeah, it was a long weekend of wrestling, but it was absolutely worth it. I mean, wasn't the last night didn't end in a incredible fashion, but I still had fun overall. It was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
now we're on the build to next year's WrestleMania, which will be at. Um,
Look, give me like 60 seconds on because we want the Rock. Where's the Rock? And I don't think he needed to be there.
I think that I'm not going to allow myself have anticipation for where The Rock decides to come, because he does what he wants. And I think that's part of the deal. That's part of what he does is that I think he kind of likes people being upset about him not showing up.
Yeah,
Which
plays to the final boss.
I mean, trolling is just like deliberate pettiness and trolling and cynicism is like my least favorite thing. Like, you can call me sensitive, you can call me a crybaby, fine. I don't actively go searching to get yelled at or criticized. Being criticized is okay, but being cynicized, I don't know. Like when The Rock shows up, maybe it means something. And even if he shows up and just, you know, decides to throw this fastball that nobody was prepared for, like literally nobody was prepared for, it doesn't mean that they can't prepare for what happened thereafter. And when he shows up, things happen, and a lot of the times it's exciting stuff. More times than not, it's exciting stuff. Um, and even if what he tries is met with resistance, he's shown the capability and the willingness to change course. And whether The Rock shows, I do think we'll see him eventually, because you can't,
Oh yeah.
even if this him injecting himself in and having John Cena be the one who sold his soul, and we really haven't gotten anything about it since. We will. Something's going to happen. Just gotta be patient.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think The Rock needed to show for Cena to win the title. Mark your calendars. If you can figure out when Cena's going to lose it, that's when I'm calling it. I bet we see The Rock when Cena loses it or immediately after. But
I
I'm
don't
going
think
to go.
Travis Scott should have shown up if The Rock didn't show up. I don't think they needed that. Just have John Cena win like a heel does. That turnbuckle spot, hitting him with the title when the ref's out. You know, just have him win like a heel wins, whatever. But
Cody, get that crossroads in, and it was beautiful.
yeah, he got. I People are saying he got his lick back. I don't agree. That dude busted his eardrum and gave him a black eye. Him hitting the crossroads ain't a lick back. He's got to get like he's got to hit one of those black eyes in. So anyway, so yeah, it was a fun Raw after Mania, and we will do this again after SmackDown on Friday. Probably do it maybe Saturday. We're going to see the Minecraft movie this weekend, so it'll probably we'll have to record in the afternoon, early evening on Saturday for whatever happens on SmackDown.
Okay. Yeah, I expect we're going to hit the aquarium of the water park or something. We're gonna get out of here and get after it.
All right, Bubba.
Some sort of shenanigans. But yeah, we'll hit that record button uh, Saturday afternoon, evening, or Sunday morning on coffee. Either way.
All right, Wayne. We are Wrestle Buddies, and we like wrestling, and we think it's really, really fun. Bye, bud.
All right. We'll see you. Go Knowles.
Almost.